Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello. I am Aga Lavrinovic, life coach for moms, and today we will have a conversation with Militia Marks. Militia is a stylist. Welcome, Militia. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me. I always love any excuse to spend time with you, Aga, whether recorded or not.
Thank you so much, Militia. Thank you. People, you may be familiar with Militia because I interviewed her in the interviews with Badass Moms. Because yes, Militia is a badass mom. I will link, the link to this video is right below. And today we will talk about acceptance, love, self love, and self acceptance mostly. I would like to share with you that I first met Militia when I was maybe, I don't know, what year was it, Militia? Do you remember?
I have no idea, maybe 5 or more years ago.
Yeah, something like 5 years ago, which
Okay.
must have been about 2016. So my younger kid was 2 years old, and I was totally lost because I moved from Europe to America. I was pregnant, and my lifestyle, not only the continent, but my lifestyle completely changed. So by the time I contacted you, Militia, I was so lost. Not that I was ever any fashion wizard or anything like that, but I liked having nice clothes. Nice clothes make me feel good. But I got to the point where I was still breastfeeding, so you have to be ready to open your chest, etc. So you wear certain tops, etc. But I was really so unhappy with how I was, on the outside, and that's how I found you, Militia. So this experience of working with you went way beyond just fashion update for me, and that's why I love collaborating with you these days because you have so much to offer. Do you remember our work together back then, 2016?
Are you kidding? Of course. I remember every single person. Today I was going through all these old invoices for something and I was like, how do I remember every single person over 8 years? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, and I get so excited. Our time together was really wonderful. I think you make a good point about you feeling lost. And I think part of that was also moving to a new culture and also not having your job as your identity and then having your kids and like you said that whole big shift. But I think a really important part, I talk about you with clients in general over the years because I feel like women find a lot of strength when hearing other women have similar stories. And then to hear like they started here where you are, but then they came here and they're just like, oh, really? And so it feels really doable, and it's not like a famous person did that. It's like, oh no, this woman who lives probably 5 minutes from you, she did the same thing. And so I think what was really amazing for you is that you really love clothes and I think in style. And I feel like because you're not materialistic, you had a hard time reconciling those things. So it was kind of like, but I'm not materialistic and I don't need things to be expensive and whatever, but also I do like to look nice. And I also, but you also love the creative expression of clothes. And so that conversation and all those conversations together were so powerful because when I basically just gave you permission to be who you are, you were just like, oh, I can do that. And I'm like, yeah, like, can I wear these? Of course you can. And then I remember we were like halfway through your edit when you finally, I was like, you really need like a wide leg pair of pants to go with this top. And you're like, well, I've been making pants. And I'm like, what? And then it turned out you had been sewing like the pants I'd been telling you to buy. And then it turned into this huge collaboration with you making things and whatever. And it just felt like there was this big evolution for you of yes, it's okay to decide you want secondhand clothes. Yes, it's okay to want new clothes that are expensive. Yes, it's okay to make your own clothes. Yes, it's okay to wear things that are not what everyone else is wearing. And I think that whole journey was a really powerful one for both of us.
Yes, yes. So that's what went beyond it, and and I want to talk about this even more in depth, just because a lot of my clients, a lot of women who I talk to in my daily work life, they sometimes after giving birth, after giving second birth, they're not so happy with their bodies, so they often choose to disassociate. And as it is, this is very surprising. Apart from this disassociation, so many women don't feel comfortable in the fashion spheres, so and I work through that with women as well, how to get back into your body and being able to enjoy it and just shift from hiding your, making yourself look flattering to adorning your body with whatever you like having on your body. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
do you have anything to say about this, Militia? What do you see within your clients on that subject? This association with your body, relationship with fashion.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All day, every day, all the time. Right.
Yeah.
Um, I love that you and I are both able to be a safe space for people about this, really, because I think a lot of women feel this and they're not sure who to talk to, or they feel like maybe they're the only one who feels this way or whatever. I think one of the gifts of COVID has been hopefully that people celebrate just having a healthy body. Like, thank God, you know what I mean? And so I think it's a nice opportunity to be reminded that you don't have to be the size you were in college for you to have a beautiful, healthy, amazing body that makes you feel good. Right. And so, I think those first few months, people sort of appreciated that. And then now people are swinging back to the like, oh, I should lose weight. Oh, I whatever, whatever. And I'm like, no, no, no. I always tell clients, I'm like, that my goal is to make you feel like your authentic self, like you're expressing yourself through your clothes. And so that will make you feel confident and more powerful because you know who you are and you feel like this top is you, right? You're not pretending to be someone else. And I don't care what size you are. It's not about what size you are. And if you want to change your size, that's a different person. Like, I don't do that. I'm not here for that. I'm here to celebrate where you are right now. And I know as someone who had a kid and gained plenty of weight with that, I totally understand that journey of being like, how do I get back to my regular weight? Am I ever going to get back to my regular weight? Well, my body looks different, even if I'm way less. Like, well, what does that mean to me? And then I know what you're saying, where women will disassociate, other women will just be like deep in shame, all those things. And I feel like what I see with my clients, first of all, I have a lot of clients who will say, well, I'm just going to wait till I lose, 5 or 10 more pounds, and then we're going to work together. All the time people say that. And then I'm like, I don't want to sound salesy to you because I'm not trying to just get your money, but that's not what we're doing here. We're not waiting until you lose the weight. When you feel good about how you look, then you have the capacity to either choose to lose weight or not lose weight, but you'll be happy with yourself instead of trying to it,
Yeah.
because when you wake up and you feel terrible about how you look, that doesn't give you lots of energy to go out and exercise. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
But
I
so,
know.
yeah.
There's so much to it, Militia. And I also want to mention the aspect of this all too small clothes, pieces of clothes, keeping, taking space in
Yeah.
your closet, right? And I talk to my clients a lot about it. Making space is a huge thing because moms often come to me and they say, Aga, I'm such a mess, help me get organized. However, they're like type A amazing women who are super organized, but they feel like they need to extend their day to like 30 hours.
Yeah.
And I can't do it for them. So they need to make space. And similarly to life, to all the thoughts you're holding on to, your closet can hold all these things, these items that really remind you that you are not worthy, that you're not who you should be, right? So that's why I encourage women to get rid of these too small clothes, like in terms of making space. Not only make space in your thoughts, like examine what is it that you hold on to, but it's not really interesting to you anymore. Like, are you still this marathon runner, or like, you clinging to it just because it was like you 20 years ago?
Right, right, right.
So, oh, and now are you really still this person who wants to wear the skinny jeans? uh, or was that the person 5 years ago? Do you really need to hold on to that to remind you that your body isn't right, or so?
I know. It's like I hear you talk. I hear me talking from you, which is like makes me so happy. I'm like, yes, take it forward, take it out there. Yes.
Right.
I feel very strongly your closet should feel like this boutique that's curated just for you. Everything is beautiful. It fits. It makes you want to shop your own closet. It makes you happy. And as soon as you
Yeah.
have something that you put on and it doesn't fit, like I'm going to wear this red shirt, and then you put it on and it's like, it doesn't fit, it's too tight, something's wrong, you take it off, and then it's 20 minutes of this, or you just wear the same three things over and over again, and you're just so depressed, and the rest of it is just noise, and that's not serving you. So the only things that should be in your closet should be communicating your personal style, who you are, what you want to convey to the world. They should fit. They should be at the level that you are at. Like if you're successful, which I know you are, if you're watching this, like show it. Don't be afraid to say, hey, why would you invest in your house and not invest in yourself? You know, so you should feel good and not have your clothes being pilly and you're like, oh, I don't know, I got something for the kids, but I didn't have a chance for myself. Like self-care is not luxurious, it's self-preservation. Like you need to take care of yourself and feel good about who you are, and then you just come out into the world in a totally different space. It's kind of like what you and I were talking about when we were first jumping on, like, oh, I'm so happy to see you, and you always make me feel so good, and blah da 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 da, because we have so much energy with one another. And that's how you present yourself to the world, when you feel good. And you feel good when you feel like you look good, and you're not trying to look good, you know, for the man, for the patriarchy, and like to do what Instagram tells you to do. The idea is for you to feel like your authentic best self. So like, this is what I like, and it makes, you can see who I am, and I'm not trying to please the masses. And that's like really where you're going. And when you have those clear guideposts, you can just follow that your whole life. You don't need an expert to tell you. You're like, this is who I am.
Love it, Melissa. Do you also have, I mean, in my eyes, you're always dressing beautifully. I want to share with you that whenever I have a day when I feel a little bit shitty, so to say, I feel like I need to put something really nice on my body, something that really feels good on my body, some cashmere sweater or some whatever, my favorite linen. Linen is my favorite fabric, so that's or my favorite stripy shirt for that matter. So something that's really good for me, or some nice jewelry. Do you do that as well?
Uh, well, no, but I love that you said that, because one thing that has been very clear over the past 2 years is everyone has become much more tactile. So every person is like, I want things to be soft. I care more about how fabric feels than I used to. And it's like everybody just wants some comfort, which has been really fun, because there's a lot of new sustainable fabrics that are soft. And so people are able to address their values, which I also think is very
Yes.
so you're dressing your values and you feel comforted. So I think that's important. I will tell you something, when I am having a terrible day or whatever, and I just want to be like cozied up in sweats. I don't feel good if I don't like what I'm wearing, basically ever. That doesn't mean that I need to be dressed up. Like it can be super casual and whatever. I can be in a big sweatshirt or whatever, but I have to feel like that sweatshirt is me. And so like, even when we do like manual labor, we're like moving stuff and building stuff. We do a lot of this stuff around the house outside. And I have my client asked me the other day, what do you wear for grubbies? And I was like, what does that mean? And she started laughing. She goes, of course you don't know what that means, because you never wear them. And I go, oh, do you mean like stuff for manual labor? She goes, yeah. And I go, it's like, oh no, I've got a whole drawer of that. And basically it's because it matters to me that I feel like that's me when I'm out there in like clothes that are old, and like I have an old striped shirt and I wear old overalls that are Dickies that I love, that have paint all over them from the projects we've done, but they feel like me. It's not like me just putting on like my husband's old whatever. And it's like, it's fine. Cause then when I see the neighbor, it just makes me edgy. You know what I mean? So it
Yes.
doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs
Yes.
to feel authentic.
I know, and I so agree with you, Melissa, because I actually, even pre-pandemic, I have this, and that's the evolution after of my relationship to fashion after working with you, that I don't have anything that's uncomfortable in my closet. Meaning that I don't have any jeans that are too tight. I don't have any shirt, anything that, you know, I have to say that I stopped wearing bras pretty much for 95% of the time. But, I just really, so basically whatever it is, like when I'm feeling shit, I'm reaching to my boutique closet and there's something that pleases me.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a really important lesson to This I talk a lot about with clients, where you should think about your clothes when you wake up in the morning. You're like, hey, what should I wear? Think about it, put it on, you leave, and you shouldn't think about what you're wearing again until someone compliments you. That's literally, you should not be engaging with your clothes throughout the day. And if you are, it's probably not for a good reason. So if your tights are digging into your stomach, you're just having
Yeah.
self-talk that says, oh, I should lose weight. It's like, it's not you, it's the tights. Like, their job is to
Yes.
make clothes that fit you. And if they don't fit you, that's not on you. Like, that's on the clothes. And so making sure that you don't have anything that is sending you these messages all day that there's something wrong with you is really important. I always tell people that if women could just remove that part of our brains that is criticizing what we wear or worrying about our bodies or whatever, we could solve world peace. Like, there would be so much extra brain power that these women could just, is sweeping changes. And it's because there's this huge chunk of time that is spent like, maybe I should lose a little. Oh, maybe I should change this. Oh, maybe there's something wrong with that. And that's not what we're here for. Like, we're here to do something and have an impact, but you got to feel good about yourself to be able to have that impact.
Yes, I so agree with this, Militia. And I want to add to it that actually that's not only on the women, because truly the culture is like
That's true.
the eyes are on women. Oh, isn't she too fat to wear this? Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, she's so skinny right after the baby. Like, the comments on your body are so ever present in our culture. So it's really hard to kind of shed
It's
this
also
kind of shoot around how you should be, how your body should be.
right. And I feel like when that is at just its peak is when you're pregnant, because people somehow feel like it's appropriate to comment on your body or touch you in a way they never did before. And you're just like, what is happening here right now? Like, I didn't ask you, you know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
starts kind of this whole thing. So yeah, it's really, but when you feel like you know who you are, then when people make these comments, you're just like, you don't know what you're talking about. You just don't even think about it. You just move on about your day instead of being like, you have
Yes.
a point. And that's really the key.
Yeah. Totally, Militia. Love it, Militia. Before we sum up our conversation here, I'd like to ask you one more question. What do you think? What would you say to women who want to make this shift from feeling bad about their bodies, being disassociated from that state to the state of joy and enjoying the body for what it is?
I would say don't put it on the to-do list as one more thing that you feel bad about. Like, let's not have guilt about feeling guilty about feeling guilty. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there are plenty of things we need to handle each day logistically and whatever. And let's not make feeling better about myself. Oh, I don't. Now I feel worse because I don't, don't like start.
Yeah.
I think you want to start from a place of like, what do I love and what do I need
Yes.
help with? Like, it's okay to need help. And I think one thing that's a real advantage for clients when I work with them, we have these conversations about, your sister or your mom or your friend or whomever can give you their opinions on if that dress looks good on you. And it doesn't kind of matter, because what matters is if you think it looks good on you and if you feel like it's expressing who you are. And sometimes having a stranger tell you, yes, it looks good on you, has a totally different effect on you than someone you know. And I think that might be a similar experience to working with you, is just having an outsider who you feel is objective. You don't feel like they have the baggage of all these years with you to say, no, you're doing great. This is great what you're doing.
Yes.
This idea you have is wonderful and I support it.
Right.
Go for it. And it's an evolution. And so sometimes you're going to feel stronger and sometimes you feel less strong. And that's part of trying to build a team to support you, whether that's friends or people that you hire, frankly, just people who can be there when you're like, this is what I need. I need someone to just give this to
Yes.
me now and help me with this on the journey. And that's something I really love about my job, is that it's collaborative. Like, I'm not just bossing people around and telling them what to do. It's about like, we're in a partnership together. And so let's like learn from each other and figure out how to, have you go out on top.
I love this, Militia. And what you said about focusing on what you love is really important, because it's hard to make changes from this negative frame of mind. So
Yes.
the change happens when you feel good about things. So it's really important to make this shift to, okay, what do I love? And what do I need support with? And that's right. We need to ask for support more often,
Yeah, you know
right?
what's funny? My clients, when I at the very initial conversation, it's an hour, we sit down, it's complimentary, and I ask them, what area do you want to minimize? And they're always like, oh, this. And like, and I say, if any, of course, because maybe you don't, and then I say, what's your favorite part of your body? And they just stare at me. And then I'll just wait. And some of them I've had people who are like, I don't have one. And I was like, that's okay. I have time. And I mean, I refuse to move on if you don't tell me your favorite part of your body. And I just keep posting on them. And there's got to be something. There's got to be something on you that you're like, you know what? I think it's kind of great.
Yeah.
And to be able to start the journey to build with, like, hey, this is
Yes.
pretty great. What else is pretty great that I haven't been paying attention to? I think is really important. And a lot of times people around you can tell you how great you are, and, but you really
Yes.
need to know it from within.
Yes. Knowing it from within is important. And also, you mentioned that earlier as well, that sometimes people around you who are your friends and they're kind of attached to certain version of you
Yes.
have totally different agenda than people who, like strangers in a coffee shop, or like people like us. We don't know you, we're not attached to you being certain way,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah, I always tell people I've had a million hair colors over the years rather, and people always prefer whatever hair color they met me with. That's literally, it's like when I think back, I'm like, why did they like that? And I'm like, oh, because that's how they met me. And people they don't want you to change. You know what I mean? And so
Uh-huh.
you need to be aware of that when you're like looking around. You're like, that's why the conversations are so great, where I'm like, okay, what style are we going for? And for a woman to say out loud to another person, well, I want to look cool, like, that's hard, right? That's a hard
Oh
thing
wow,
to
yeah.
say. But like, I'm like, right on, let's make you look cool. Like, let's talk about, what do you
Mm-hmm.
really want? Do you want to look sexy? Is that what you want? And that's like part of this conversation, where especially this, I know, as we wrap up, especially women who have been in extended sizes their whole life, they feel like they've never had the chance to even consider what they want to look like, because they've been limited by the clothes that are available to them. So it's basically, I just go to what
Yeah.
fits at the store and that's what I wear. I don't know what colors I like. I don't know what whatever, or if you're petite, or if you live in a rural area, or all these reasons that the clothing choices
Yeah.
are restricted to you. And when I have these conversations with, what do you want to be? Those folks are just like, I don't know. And I'm like, but this is your moment to actually decide, because I will get you there. And to be able to just let them be free to say, this is what I truly
Yes.
want, is a really big deal. And so even that step before you're even changing your clothes is just take the freedom to step back and don't care what anybody thinks of you. Don't worry about what your job is. Don't worry about where you live, and just think, if I could wear anything, what would it be? And let that be kind of your guidepost.
Love it. Yes. Oh my gosh, Melisha, so many amazing thoughts and wisdom here. Let's just put it together for our listener, our people who watch us. So first of all, don't hold on to anything in too small or too big size,
Yes.
because all those things that you keep in your closet take space and make you think, falsely think, that there's something wrong with your body.
I should clarify that, Aga. I do tell my clients, if you truly love it, you feel like it's your style, blah, 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 then you put it in a too small pile somewhere else in your house. You put a too big pile somewhere else in your house. And should your size change, you'll go find them and shop them and be thrilled. And if they don't,
Exactly.
you get rid of them and you never even look in it.
Perfect. That's right. But going back to the idea of your closet being the boutique experience for you, right? Don't keep those things in there just because those will just make this associations in your brain that there's something wrong, that there's nothing you can enjoy in the present moment, but you only can be happy if your size will change again to
Right.
the certain size. What else did we say? Focus on the positive. If you feel like you want to make the shift, right, from this state of mind of experiencing shame about your body, etc. So focus on what you like, so that you can really find yourself in this comfortable and joyful space, so you can create the change from that place, right?
Mhm.
And also, I want to remind everyone that would you agree with this, Militia? I'm curious that most women feel a little bit insecure in the realm of fashion.
I would have a hard time saying most because it depends on
Okay,
for sure. Um, yeah, I don't think most women, but I think a lot of women. And I think
right.
you do just, it's like, it's someone's job to create content constantly. Trends are changing all the time because it's someone's
Yes,
job to like change the trends, to sell more things. And you know what I mean? So like, don't be intimidated. You're not, I just feel like it's really
yes,
important to think like, who are you here to impress? You're here to impress yourself, like number one.
yes,
That's the key. And so when you do that and you're paying attention to, okay, like when you're talking about fashion, do you feel like this is relevant? That's important. Like if you're, you know, if something is dated, that has an effect, right? But that's kind of the gist of it, is making sure that it fits you, it feels good,
yes,
that you're not, you don't need to be wearing what a fashion model is wearing unless you love it
yes,
and you want to. And then great, there's a version of that for
right.
you.
Militia, thanks for correcting me because that's right. It's not fair to generalize. On the other hand, the women who feel insecure about their fashion, the fashion sense, or sense of fashion, they
Yeah.
feel really alone with it. That's such a vulnerable area for them that they don't want to even talk to people about it. They come to you and they say, "Oh," they have hard time to say, "I want to look cool,"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Well, you know, when I get women that I work with who are in that situation, it's generally because they have taken themselves, you know, from a young age, they're like, I don't care about that stuff. I'm not into that. I'm into serious things. I'm like getting stuff done. And they focus on all that. And generally, they're probably feel reasonably attractive. And so they don't really have to worry about it. And then they get to a certain point where they feel like they're getting older. All of a sudden, they don't love how they look. And they turn to their friends and realize that none of them know how to dress either, because none of them ever paid attention to that. They weren't engaged. They didn't have anyone to teach them. And so then all of a sudden, they're all just looking at each other like, do you know what to do?
I love this.
And you're like, I'm super smart and accomplished. And how come I can't just pick out a dress when I go to the store? And that's when I end up working with one woman and then all of her friends because they
Oh,
are
so sweet.
situation, right? They're just like, oh, someone can give me clear filters to tell me how to do this. I'm like, yes, you have your own
Yeah.
page. You're right. So that is definitely one branch of women, is women who are in that space. There's another branch of women who secretly love fashion, almost don't even admit it to themselves because their bodies haven't allowed them, this is how they feel, that their bodies haven't allowed them to wear what they think is beautiful and fashionable. But I maintain that that's not the case, and they need to find support to help them, because there is a world out there for you to feel and look beautiful no matter what your body is. And don't let the first Google search bring you down, because there's more on the internet than you know.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So such wisdom. Thank you so much, Militia.
You're welcome.
I almost want you to repeat it so people rewind it and listen to actually the whole thing again, but
Oh,
especially the last right, especially the last part that Militia says there is a world out there for you to feel amazing in what you wear. And it's important to be aligned with this. Okay, this is me and that's how I feel great. And then what other people say stops mattering as much.
yeah, it's not shallow, it's not vain, it's important. Like, you want to feel good about how you look, is you valuing who you are. And we're not trying to like change. I'm not trying to be like, go get surgery and do all these things to your body.
Yes.
I'm saying any of that. I'm saying like, it's really important to say, it matters to me that I'm happy when I look in the mirror, and what am I going to do to help get myself there, so that it just is a weight lifted, you know. And in fact, it helps propel you in a more impact in the world. I love it.
Yes, yes. And yes, the world needs you to have
Angie,
an impact. Thank you so much, Militia. Such a pleasure talking with you today about these important topics. Thank you for watching us, everyone. Please read the comments. There's an information how to find Militia, how to find me, and hopefully see you soon again.
bye, Aga.
Bye bye.